Welcome to the show this week, and I'm a little bit salty. I've been gone, and I went 0-10 in the picks. You talking about being pencil whooped. Look at these people. These are all the criminals here. Mike Baker, Gary Clark, Donna Hocker. I can't trust them anymore. When they come back, it may only be me on the set.
You know.
We'll be back in a moment. I told you we'd have new personnel in the seats.
It takes hard work, grit, and determination to become a professional football player like Luke Kuechly. But it only takes 15 minutes to see how much you could save on car insurance with Geico.
I'm excited about it. You start to feel better about your team when you're not as happy after a win as you normally should be. But you got to understand this is a great competitive sport, the National Football League, and everybody has great players. But you can see that we're starting to turn a corner a little bit when you're not quite as ecstatic as you normally would be after a win. I think there's a lot of things we can correct, clean up, obviously. But I'm impressed. Anytime you get a victory on a Sunday afternoon at home, it's special. But I know we can play a lot better.
It's a great opportunity, and it'll be a very charged atmosphere. It'll be a tough environment, very good football team, and I think that's why you play in the NFL is for games like this coming up, to play against a really good team at their place and have a chance to, put yourself in the hunt for the division and in the NFC. And we got to measure ourselves against really good football teams, and the Eagles certainly are one. So we'll look forward to that challenge.
Well, back to the show. We're on a happy note. They won by 2 points, but at the same time, they could have done a little bit better. I tell you what, they let them stay in the game, and maybe injuries was a cause of that. But at the same time, Mike, they've learned that they have to have Chris Thompson on that field no matter what. I know they're afraid of him getting hurt, but tell me this. Without him, that offense doesn't look the same.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, Tony. For years we've been wanting to see screens and draws. And I tell you, this might be the best player in the NFL to run a screen. 104 yards, basically receiving some 38 yards rushing. He's a one-man show. He reminds me a lot of Brian Mitchell.
And a lot of those runs, he's making them happen. But at the same time, receivers are coming on. And I really like Dobson. I tell you what, Dobson to me, I've seen ever since they made that comment about he has to do it consistently, he's doing things now that make you know he could be a pretty good receiver.
I think they're getting a feel for one another. The quarterbacks and the receivers are starting to get. That's what it takes. Have the understanding of what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to come out of your routes. And I think Kurt is feeling that with all the receivers. And quite honestly, Thompson out of the backfield makes it seem like they got 4 good receivers out on the field at all times. He's an impressive guy, and he's probably more like Brian Mitchell than, not more like Kevin Bryant than Brian Mitchell. Though.
Yeah.
And you see how nice those two guys were. So now this time since I've been away, let somebody throw somebody up under the bus. On the defense. On the
What are you trying to say, Tony? I throw no one under the bus.
There's been a lot of injuries. What do you think about this defense? Now they're going against a Philadelphia team that's pretty tough. They do have some big injuries, and Allen is out for 3 or 4 weeks, and then your little brother, the kicker, even got hurt.
Yeah, he did, Tony. I'll stay with the kicker first, and then I'll go to the defense because he has a hip injury, and that's big for the special teams because they're going to bring some more kickers in. Everybody wanted to say, oh, man, he missed that extra point, but it was a reason because he's a little nicked up. Now, on the
That's like your shooting hand in your back.
No, that's pure
I dropped that ball because my fingers jammed.
Right?
But it is an injury, and that's big. But on the defensive side, Breland got nicked up, the knee injury and everything. He went down.
He's lucky it wasn't
but
bad,
yeah,
any
it's
worse.
not bad. It's a sprain, but he's supposed to play against Philadelphia. And you look at the younger guys, some of those DBs, they stepped up big against Philadelphia. When they had to shut him down at the very end, they did. Dunbar made a big knockdown against Pierre Garçon at the very end. And then you had some of the other guys. Everett's supposed to be back this week. A guy was out with an injury too. Long shot for Josh Norman to come back against Philadelphia, but he's starting to progress a little bit. But it shows you some depth as far as from their defensive.
I like that with the defensive backs as well. I like to see a little bit more pass rush, though, guys. I tell you, they get in there. And what I really noticed, they got there early in the game, but in the late part of the game, the latter part of the game, they did not get there. And the other thing I didn't see on the offensive side of the ball, G, is in that last drive when you're trying to eat up and you got a minute and something left,
you got to get a
and
first
you end
down.
up with a 4th and 4. That means you didn't do much.
You got to get a first down. The game's over.
But
what do you think? Was it the plays or?
I don't know. We got a little bit more conservative.
Yeah.
You know, it was definitely 3 runs, and I get that you're trying to, but we already got a short game. There's so much in our thing. In our game, you can do with a short pass. It's just like a run to still eat up the clock.
But you know why they end up, the defense probably didn't get to the quarterback as much, because they were on the field a long time. Even Chris Thompson talked about, we have, as an offensive unit, we have to be better.
It's called
right there.
conditioning, Donna.
Well, that too.
Conditioning,
but they
Donna.
still need to be able to get off the field, and the offense need to do more.
And, well, they do, but at the same time, Gary may be right about that. But if you look on both sides of the ball, the lines tell me.
I want to ask you about, we talked about Matt Ioannidis and how he's been playing. He had a sack and a half.
Number 98.
He's leading. If I'm not mistaken, he's right with Kerrigan in terms of sacks, number of sacks.
Smith, too.
What's going on with him? Did he beef up? Or has he been working?
He beefed up, but at the same time, his footwork is a little better than it was, and he has a high motor. If you watch him, he's always moving, and he makes things happen.
And he's got more experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he didn't
right.
play last
year. And he's not thinking the game, he's playing the game. And if you think about it, that's what the Washington Redskins haven't had, is a real good inside rusher like him. And he has that now. Now you put your outside people together, they're getting to push up the middle. If they contain the quarterback, they can get to him. But I think what you said, conditioning is important, but the offense do need to help him with that.
What about Preston Smith? I know that he jumped off quite a bit in that Kansas City game, but he's had a sack in every game so far.
He looked very good. He looked good, but he looked good early. I didn't see a lot late. I like to see him make the big plays in the fourth quarter.
Conditioning.
When I say the fourth quarter,
you
have to think about it. Win the first quarter in the picks, and I've been cheated badly. I'm going to tell you about this every week. We'll be back in a moment. I'm mad.
You out of
Get on up out of here, Donna.
Hey, Chris, you're on the sideline with minutes to go and seconds to go in the game. What is going through your mind at that point, or your mind at that point?
For me, I trust my defense, so I had no doubt at all. Pierre did make me kind of nervous after he caught that pass, which I knew he was bound to get something like that today. But our defense, they continue to fight, and as an offense, we just gotta play better on our end and not put those guys in that situation. We were up 17-0, and that's one of those things where we just, as an offense, we really got to just keep going, keep pounding them, and our execution kind of fell short a little bit, and we was in the fight at the end.
Hey, Kendall, could you talk a little bit about the play of the defensive backs down the stretch and the young ones, how you all came up big when it was crucial time of this game?
I think it's just always just the way we work since training camp, since OTAs. You know, we as strong as our weakest link. And, you know, we always talk about not having to drop off. So anybody who in there, we trust to make plays.
And Breland went out, but everybody stepped up and played big. Did you hold your breath just for a little bit?
No, I mean, we know the depth that we have in this secondary. You know, everybody can come out there, everybody can make plays, everybody's smart. So, you know, that's just how we got to do it as a group.
We practice throughout the week, so I feel like there ain't no dropout. When Fabe, Hoes, anybody come in, we expect no drop off, man. That's the standard we hold.
Did you hold your breath just a little bit?
Oh man, I don't blink, man. Like I was saying during the week, man. Football is pleasure for me. What I've been through growing up, man, just fun. So I just live and play. That's all.
Well, welcome back. Who would have thought the Philadelphia Eagles would be 5-1 right now? But you know what you have to think as well. Washington should have beat them the first game.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say.
They should have beat
Washington
Kansas
should
City.
have beat them, and they weren't as in tune as
5-0.
they are right now.
They should be 5-0. You know, when you look at the Eagles, this is going to blow you away, Tony. When you look at total offense, do you realize Washington is ranked 5th in the league? The Eagles are 24th, and they're only averaging 65 yards a game in rushing. It's all been Wentz. If you can, I mean, they got no rushing game, Tony. None.
It does make a difference. Well, you know, now you look at this game coming up, Donna, their defense has been playing pretty well.
It has, Tony, because I think that's what Mike talked about. They're not having a running game, and Wentz has been the one that's keeping them. It's the defense because they've gotten better. They've got a good pass rush.
Yeah.
Their secondaries even improved too because they're actually holding teams under 20 points per game.
Because of that pass rush.
Yep.
They're top four, they're front four.
Yep.
Yeah.
They bringing it.
Yeah, that's
one thing they are. They bringing it. They are trying to bully.
So really,
they're trying to bully these.
Right, and they're bullying, so they're winning from the foundation, which is their quarterback
Without a doubt.
and their defense.
That's why they're 5-1.
And Skins are -1 in give and take, and the Eagles are +4. So they're making things happen.
And you know what
play aggressive.
what I'm afraid of with the Eagles? They do have a bruising running back there, and if they start trying to run that ball over and over, I'm a little bit afraid of them.
But he only averaged
at the
65
same
yards a
time-
game. He ain't that bruising.
He's averaging.
They don't use him.
He ain't
No,
bruising.
because Wentz
Don't
is what.
Sound like he
nobody
would make
say
you
his name.
bruise.
If we say his name, we'll be helped.
All right,
Don't say his
I don't
name.
want to be blunt here, but he's averaging
you
5.6
you-
yards a
See,
game.
I said
Always
don't say
right.
his name, right?
I was being blunt. 5.6 yards a game.
Okay,
They only
right.
got 65
Now,
Every
if
time
he-
he
if
carries
he
the
run
ball,
with-
it's almost
if he
6
run with
yards.
that game in Sunday, we're gonna
I'm just
talk
being blunt.
about you next
That's
week.
all.
And that'll
No,
be
but
blunt, right?
Can I throw this graphic in so you know Carson Wentz was saying that they were the bullies of the NFC East. We mentioned that last week. So my good friend Brian Burgess, I said, Brian, do me a graphic. Would you do that for me? He's got a big old hog eating a Philly cheesesteak and chomping down. So take a look at this. That's what's going to happen, Tony.
Well, you know what? That looks good there.
But on the field.
I'm
Right.
gonna tell you what. I didn't think this team, Philadelphia, I'm speaking of, was that good. But at the same time, when they played Washington, I didn't think they played very well in that game. But now that I look at the game, look at Philly's record, Washington did not play that bad in that game. They have some things to get together. And to me, G, I know you like throwing the ball, but Washington has to get that running game back because it's always been a staple.
We have to have a mix. The mix is when we look the most powerful. It's when we perform the best. Having a mix of run and pass is always a good thing. And I'm like you got to have 25 on the field a lot
All the
more
time.
often. And this is the only thing. I understand that they're talking about maybe he could get hurt, but you're supposed to go in the game expecting to win. Winning's the most important element of any portion of the game. So play your players who are going to allow you to win. I don't care about getting hurt. You can't think about getting hurt.
And that's what Coach Gibbs did well. Remember,
Period.
it did not matter. If you had something to contribute, you were on the field when it was time for you to contribute. And I think that's the way it has to be with
Without a
25.
doubt.
You can't save him. What are you saving
makes a
him
difference.
for if he doesn't get hurt and you go 6
And we
and 10?
lose.
So what good is it?
But Tony, every time he's played except one game, he's had a big breakout run in all the games.
He's a game
but
breaker.
Gruden said that he's only going to give him about 7 runs, 7 catches per game. But if he's the hot man, then you got to go with him. But Samazi, they got a good mix of running backs right now with Samaji, and then Rob Kelly's supposed to be back. So that changes up a lot of things when he's mixing all
I'm not
them
going to
together.
mention names, but I'm afraid of the ball being on the ground. What
I
were you
have
saying,
one
Mike?
question for you, Tony. Why
By
do the
who?
Washington Redskins have such trouble with big tight ends? You got Zach Ertz, who's scary as heck, 4 touchdowns, averaging almost 12 yards of reception. You know the Skins don't play tight ends well. Why?
But it's not just the Skins. Look around the league.
Okay.
Everybody is having problems with tight ends right now because the tight ends are bigger and faster. And they're not looking for blocking tight ends. Gronk is not a great blocker, but he's a great receiver.
Sure is.
So now that tight end position has to be looked at a little bit more carefully. They had been putting linebackers on them and maybe a strong safety. Now you may have to put a cornerback on them or a fifth cornerback or something. That tight end position is really right now a very, very good position, and it's hard to cover.
Yeah.
Tony, grade the quarterbacks a little bit. Kurt, you got wins. And look at
There
Kurt.
you go,
Oh,
Donna,
okay.
452.
See-
Tell me in the next segment what it is. As you know, when we have a
Why
time
you didn't
schedule
hit-
to
you
go
didn't
out,
hit right
Donna
here?
Hopkins want to come in and she want to get a play in right before the end. Well, she had to bring that to the next segment. We got to pay bills. We'll be back in a
You
moment.
didn't hit my
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
Welcome to this week's Sports Bar Challenge. In this week's game, we have the Falcons traveling to New England in a rematch of last year's Super Bowl against the Patriots. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Falcons. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Falcons. Fairfax Hard Times likes the Patriots. Harry's Ale House likes the Patriots. Fairfax Outback likes the Falcons. And Greavy's likes the Patriots. This will be a high-scoring game between two very potent offenses, but I like New England here at home. Pick the Patriots.
Once again, we have our segment, What's Bugging You? And as you know, Patty from PMSI is here, and she'll Patty, you changed.
Patty is no more for this segment.
Gee, what you doing
You've been
here?
talking trash about me. Donna's been talking trash about me. Mike's been talking trash about me, that I'm scared of these pests.
If you've been watching the show, you know he's afraid.
I'm
Go
not
ahead
scared
with
of no
that.
animals. I brought animals in here today that we can eliminate. Pest.
Oh, boy, that's fearsome there.
Pest.
Oh, don't get too tough on me, man. Wait a minute.
Well, this is not so much a pest. I kind of like this pest. But I'm not scared of anything.
Now, these are the animals that we've been bringing on. This is your version of
Well,
them.
we've eliminated those animals, and we brought off some less pestery animals to showcase.
Well, can Patty and them take care of these animals?
They can take care of any animals, any type of elimination you want, any type of pest that you want, we can take care of.
Now, Gary, you know this hurt you. Everybody look at you and G, man. You come on, man.
Well, you act like these aren't real.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
See, your
Stephen
vision.
up in Canada.
Let's listen to
What's
Stephen.
bugging him?
What is bugging, Stephen?
what's bugging me about this NFL season is the fact that the Atlanta Falcons are 3-1, when in actuality, that team should be 1-3. Let's take a look at the evidence, why don't we? Week 1 against the Chicago Bears. The Bears driving late. Jordan Howard has the ball in the end zone, but he drops it. And the Falcons narrowly escaped defeat against the Chicago Bears week 1. Let's take a look at week 3 now against the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford driving the team up late in the game. He finds Golden Tate in the end zone. Touchdown Lions. They win the game. But upon further review, Golden Tate did not have possession of the football, which was a really bad call by the refs, by the way. And the Atlanta Falcons win the game and go 3-0 to start the season. Now, they lose deservedly to the Buffalo Bills week 4, but that team should not have been 3-0 in the first place. The Atlanta Falcons, that's what's bugging me.
Steven, that kind of Steven up in Canada. But let me tell you what's bugging me. You know what's bugging me? The animals ain't real, my man. Where's the real animals?
These animals are real.
In your mind. We'll
That's
be back in a
it's
moment.
a great mind.
Real animals. We'll be back in a moment.
Sleeping.
On October 17, 1969, Tony McGee and the Wyoming 14 decided to take a stance. Back then, his Wyoming football team was considered one of the best in the country and had 14 black players on the team. Tony and his teammates objected to the way black players were treated on the football field by BYU, by the officials and the players, and decided to bring attention to their treatment by wearing armbands to their meeting with their coach, Lloyd Eaton. They needed his approval to wear the armbands the next game against BYU. On October 17, 1969, all 14 players were kicked off of Wyoming's team. A civil case seeking restitution for the players was in court for 3 years before being denied. It was 7 years before Wyoming had a winning season. The action of these 14 black teenagers resulted in the signing of the first black player by BYU in 1970. On October 26, 2017, the National Consortium of Academics in Sports will be honoring the Black 14 with the Giant Steps Award for Barrier Breakers. For more information on the Black 14, visit redmagplus.com.
Hey, Tony, what's up? Hey, man. Ty Miller here in Pittsburgh with an outside viewpoint of the Washington Redskins. First of all, this is a walking wounded team. So many injuries. It's almost like every player needs some TPR, some topical pain relief. Now, secondly, you woke up the Dallas Cowboys. How? Well, by playing San Francisco so close last week, you let the Cowboys know that coming off their bye week, they cannot take this 0-6 team lightly, so they will take their A game to San Francisco. Now, last of all, there are 2 fight songs in the NFC East. One is Hail to the Redskins, and the other one is Fly, Eagle, Fly. And come Monday night, the Eagles will be flying high. Fly, Eagle, fly. Hey, man, we'll talk to you next week.
We're proud to announce Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Scholarship Contest is back yet again this year. Eligible candidates will receive laptops if indeed your composition is selected. If you are graduating high school senior, send in your composition. The subject this year is what can your generation do to impact how social media has affected our nation's security. So get those essays in.
Ah, the Ravens, never fleeting, still are winning, still are winning. But when the pests come knock, knock, knocking at your door, and the bees that bumble sound like the roar of the stadium's rumble. Touchdown! And you see the ants and roaches creeping and crawling as the moonlight hits the floor. Have no fear, for PMSI will rid you of those pests to scamper and scatter on your floor. Once they treat, nevermore.
Yeah, I just saved a whole lot of money by switching to Geico.
Huh. We should take a closer look at Geico.
You know, Geico insures way more than cars, boats, motorcycles, even RVs.
Geico insures RVs? What's an RV?
The thing we've been stuck on for 5 years.
Wait, I'm not a real moose?
We've been over this, Jeff.
We're stickers.
I'm not a real moose.
Give him some space.
Deep breaths, Jeff.
What's a sticker? Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
All right, we back now. Donna, what was the question you asked at 4:50?
Why you guys say it like
you
that?
know we were going out at 5.
Okay,
Come
why
on.
you guys say that? Like, okay, so the quarterbacks, when you look at Kurt of what he's done thus far this season, how do you see him? And then the two quarterbacks that's going up against each other, their growth at this time.
I dropped quarterbacks. He played with him. I think you need to ask G that.
What do you like to think about Kurt at this stage?
I don't think I want to answer your question.
Because you don't know?
Give her a break. She ain't throwing him under the
Because
bus.
she asked the question. She went up to 450 last time, Tony. You told her
You
two
running
times
out
not
of
to
time.
do that.
Do you want to know, Donna, since you asked that question, one of the most interesting things, we stay after and we get all the sound bites from both teams. Do you know when Kyle Shanahan was asked about what he thought about how Kirk played, you know what his response was? I didn't watch it. I didn't see him.
And like Maury said, that was
In other
a lie.
words, I'm getting
Yeah, he knew it.
In other words, I'm getting ready to sign him next year.
No,
Yeah, what
he-
kind of comment is that?
Oh,
I didn't watch how he played.
Yeah, he
knew.
just you know he knew that.
Well, he's going to sign him next year. He wants him.
Speaking of something that's not real, why don't you go on and get it over
Get the
with.
picks over
Get
with.
the picks over with.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony McGee is in the doghouse. On the picks this week.
I want y'all to
Don't-
mark this date.
Don't
I'm in last place. Mark it. Go.
Don't take a
Where
look
you'll
at Tony's
stay.
picks. All right, New Orleans and Green Bay. Everybody's picking New Orleans because Green Bay lost their quarterback. Carolina at Chicago. Tony's got Carolina. Donna's got Chicago. Gary's got Chicago. And Mike's got Carolina. Dallas at San Francisco. Everybody's got Dallas. Well, there'll be a lot of happy people in the press box, right? Atlanta at New England. Everybody, no. I stand corrected. Tony's got Atlanta, Donna's got Atlanta, Gary's got New England, and I have New England. And then Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Tony's got Pitt, Donna's got Cincinnati, Gary's got Pittsburgh, and I have Pittsburgh. I just don't think you pick against Pittsburgh.
Gary, I just don't know how you can let him get me like that, man. I leave
You
for
know
2
what?
weeks,
He
man.
got you.
I had to stop my vacation to come back here and
I couldn't
and
believe it, Tony.
defend my
I couldn't
honor.
believe it, you know. I mean, I really couldn't.
He's the one
He
leading.
did
Oh,
it,
that's
Tony. He
the
leaving.
real animal. Yeah, so I asked the wrong person. But you look at this season right now, this Philadelphia game is a huge, huge game.
Yeah, it
really is. They can't
It's for
afford
first
to
place.
lose to them twice.
Well,
They're not going to lose to
No.
them twice.
Yeah.
He say that convincingly.
Oh, yeah. I'm always convinced.
It's gonna. I think it's gonna be a tough game, and like
It
you
should
said,
be a tough game.
yeah, but
Yeah, that's where you want it.
divisional game. They win, it's all
We
tied
can't
up.
afford to lose to them again. That's what I'm
No.
saying.
Exactly.
And now I think our team expects to win instead of hoping to win. Now they expect to win.
And
That's
Coach
important.
Gruden said something the other day. He said, even though we won, we're not happy.
That's
And I
good.
like that. And he said, I think we turned the corner with that, and I agree with that. But now what you have to look at, I'm not worried about the play as much as the injuries affecting the game. I think the Washington Redskins can play with this team, but the injury, will that affect?
But whoever's coming in, if I do have an injury, who's coming in to take that place? They have to step up. And they've been doing that, quite honestly. They've been
Yeah.
stepping up. They've had players that came in, fit that position well, as they should be. They're professional athletes. They should be able to come right in and you not miss a beat.
Talking to
Well, you just heard my tip. Gary Clark said it. For all you players that's coming in for the hurt people, time for you to earn your check. Play ball. Now, what were you about to say,
Well,
Donna?
Dunbar said that during the week they practice like they are starters, not like they're coming in to replace anybody. So they prepare them during the week like they're starting. So when they come in, they're already starters.
Yeah, well, D'Angelo Hall's on the pub list. Is he going to play? I mean, after what, 6,
Yeah,
8
they
weeks
say
he
it's
can
up
play?
in the air. He could.
I would love to see
I
that.
just hope he's ready, all the way ready, because he can add a lot of attitude and talent to that team. I'm going to go a minute early with this because Donna, some kind of way will get us over.
Never.
What do you think it'll take for Washington to beat Philly?
I think if you look at this team, I think the Washington Redskins will automatically stop the run. I think that they're going to put a lot of pressure on Wentz, and I see the Skins winning this one like 30-24. I think get pressure on Wentz, contain him. You talked about the two outside,
Containment,
the two outside
containment,
linebackers
containment.
containing him because he will scramble out of the pocket. Contain him and shut down their run, and I think you can beat him.
G.
Play physical. Play physical.
I like that.
Expect to win and take no hostages.
Play with an attitude.
Without a doubt.
I think that if the Redskins are able to run that ball and dominate and keep them off the field, that's where you win it too.
I like everything he said. I said you contain wins, play physical, keep them off field, but stop making mistakes.
Yep.
I'll
Don't
tell
beat
you what,
yourself.
in the game they lost against Kansas City was all about mistakes, not about play. So if they go out there and eliminate the mistakes and play ball, they can win. So when we come back next week, I guarantee you, I'll be better than I was on the picks than I was last week.
No, you won't.
So I got to say it again in a minute.